Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good to see y'all in here. How's it going? Miss, wow, Miss Justice number one again. All right. There we go, girlfriend. All right. Much love, PG. Hey, much love and prayers to you and yours, girl. God bless. Number two, crazy retired lady. All right. Good evening. Good evening to you. And who is Anna, number three, in here tonight? Hello, PG. Much love. Oh, she sent me a rose. Hey, girl. God bless. Much love to you. Much love to you. And Karen, number four. Number four in here tonight. Good to see you, girlfriend. God bless and much love to you. All right. Let's get down through here. Everyone who lived on Ben Hill, that age group was, wow. Uh-huh. I can't say I can disagree with you. I mean, I, girlfriend, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. It seemed like a lot of people up in there was definitely very unkosher, right? Very unkosher. Um, hey Lisa, hey PT, love, beautiful lady, love to you, girl. You know it. God bless. She said, I want to know about Don leaving leaving Candace for Fred's sister. Hey, that's the word on the street. But I'm going to tell you, I think it's I think it's some type of I think it's some type of, you know, if you ask me, I think it's some type of, I'm trying to figure out how I can put this. It seems like it's some type of game, some type of, um, bait and switch type thing, you know, that they're not done. I don't know if he's really, doing anything with Fred's sister, maybe so. But I think, there's a group of these people, and I think what they do is they um, do this bait and switch stuff. What I'm saying is Don, Fred's sister plays the part of, oh, I'm with Don now, and Candace is out, and poor Candace, and Candace goes and plays a victim with somebody for self gain. You know what I'm saying? And she weasels her way in to somebody, some poor um, kind person's home, or it wiggles her way through the door and then manipulates the person and does some evil shit. And Don and this group of people are all behind it. They're all behind it. And I think Candace ain't the only one doing this. I think that there's many of them doing it. I think many of them are acting like victims, and in order to manipulate kind-hearted people into giving them, into supporting them and giving them stuff. That's my opinion. That's what it sounds like, because Fred did say it wasn't the first time, that this has happened. So with that being said, that's what's leading me to believe that, Candace and Don ain't split up at all. They just got somebody, one of the groups getting in the middle, making it look like they are. And when in reality, absolutely not. That's my opinion. These are, when you're Don and Candace, when you've got habits, illegal substance abuse habits and everything, most people would think, oh, doing some illegal stuff can't, it can't cost that much, why can't these people who are, addicted to this stuff, why can't they work jobs and, have big houses and nice cars and and all of this stuff too. They work, why don't they? It ain't that way. It's it's not that way. The more they make, the more they spend on the habit, the more they do. What I'm saying is, um, I don't think I don't think that people, people who don't use illegal substances, or people who, do stuff and uh, you know, modification, where you once in a while, yeah, you might party once in a while, do some things you ain't supposed to do. Um, and yeah, at that point, it's not, you're not going to really miss it, because the money wise, you're not going to really miss it, because you're really not addicted. You're really not addicted. You're just basically, um, doing it for sport, right? You just do it for sport, and you're not addicted to it. It's just something. It's a once in a while thing, like you know, going out on New Year's and having a glass of champagne, or weddings, or you know, oh, big deal. But that's no, that isn't a big deal. But when you're addicted, when you're truly addicted to this stuff, like you get up in the morning, you get up in the morning and you can't function until you gotta like wake and bake. You have to, get you ain't even like, I don't know if you've ever seen someone, someone without their their device, maybe a kid without its security blanket. It'll freak out until you give it to it. I mean, you have a hard time even washing and drying the blanket, or their favorite stuffed animal, because they're always holding on to it, and they'll have a fit until it's out of the washer and dried and put back into their arms. Well, that's the effect you're getting from these people who are so addicted, like Don and Candace are. What I'm saying is, they're like ride and die for it. And no matter how much money they're making, it doesn't matter. That means they can just do more. They can, feel the way they want to feel, even more. And yeah, that's a good thing for the dealer, of course. For the dealer, that's awesome. Um, you can make tons and tons of money off of people like Don and Candace Wells if you're a dealer. And you could buy big houses and big vehicles and drive, wear really nice clothes and gold chains, and you, wow, you could really be doing some stuff, taking vacations all the time, and doing some really great stuff. If you got people like this depending on you, and the more they make, the more they're at your door, and making you richer by the minute. um that's an awesome thing. But see, what you don't understand is people like Don and Candace, if Don's mother wouldn't have left that home to him, they would have still been what? Homeless. And homeless people learn real quick to, living the life that Don, Candace, and Don and his first old lady, and, you know, the way these people live, they live like, gypsies. And um, they're mostly homeless, and they learn every game in the book in order to slide their feet into good people's presence and use and abuse the hell up out of them, and the good person will be lucky. they're really lucky if they walk away, you know, not, if they're able to walk away. Sometimes these type of people, sometimes these type of people unlive you. Sometimes they unlive you, throw you somewhere. They're very dangerous people, very dangerous people. They have learned to care nothing about nothing but themselves. They, their habit is them. That habit is them, and that habit is very evil. And they'll do whatever it takes to get it, and they don't care who or what they, destroy in order to get it. And that's what, people don't understand. The very poor people. I'm going to tell you, when they say, you're blessed to be poor, that is the truth. When you can't afford to give nobody shit, you should, you should really feel blessed. You should feel blessed when, you ain't able to have that big heart. Just saying, you should look up and say thank you to the Lord, because somebody like Don and Candace, if you had more, somebody like them, you might feel sorry, open your door to it, and you wouldn't have to worry about ever opening the door again. So you should thank God that you're, if you ain't got nothing to give nobody, then at least you're safe. At least you're safe because you ain't gonna have nobody like that coming around you. That's what I'm trying to say. They pray. They prey on folks. It's horrible. What's the deal with the crowns? I've never known, and since there's hardly anyone here, I figured I'd ask. What's the deal with the crowns? Um, Hell, I don't know. You probably have to tell me. I don't know what you're talking about with the crowns. You'd have to tell me. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I misunderstood. I'm like crowns. I've been watching too many. I've been watching too many Christmas movies. Like all the Christmas movies are like, I don't know if you guys have took note, but like all the Christmas movies are like based in big castles and all to do with like royalty and stuff, and I'm thinking crowns. Okay, give me a break, you guys. I'm PG's been overworking my brain. I've been overworking it. You did feel a little special. that's that's a way. I needed that laugh. Yeah, that's that explains it. Oh God. Oh shit. Hey Janet, how you doing, sweetie? It's good to see you. On love, how you doing? Karma Queen, the legendary. Hey Parker, what's up? Oh, that's beautiful, girl. I love that Kathy. Uh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Hey, Caroline, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Hey, Earth Angel, how you doing? Angel on Earth. Let me see. I'm trying to get to the bottom, but I'm trying not to miss no one as we go down through there. Hey Nicole, how you doing? Jenna, good to see you, girl. Stephanie, okay. There's Georgia Wild Child. How you doing, girl? Deputy Sheriff, good to see you. God bless, much love to you. Carmen, how you doing? All right, I'm almost at the bottom. There's just chilling, Patty Ponytail. All right. PG's little girl, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Hey, spread love. Much love to you too, girl. Much love to you. Anyway, um, yeah, I told you I'd be back in tonight. Take care. We got really off track last night. PG was talking about politics. I'm gonna skip politics tonight. I'm gonna skip it. All right, and get straight to this stuff. Put a one in the chat if you heard Fred and Ziggy talking um with Sweetie Pilo and um that Serafina. Hey, crime lines and lies. How you doing, girlfriend? Good to see you. God bless. Much love. Um, yeah, they sure was. They were there. They was there. Hey, Sherry. Absolutely. And Fred was saying a whole lot of stuff, wasn't he? He was saying a whole lot of BS. That's what he was saying. A whole lot of BS, you guys. Straight up. I can't listen to her, Ziggy, at all, but I believe it. Oh yeah, they were there. They was there. I seen it. I seen it firsthand. I was watching it, and I'm going to tell you something. Uh, you got to wonder what is Ziggy's and Fred's problem. Well, really, Fred's problem. Um, Ziggy is just, you know, she just fucking there. That's it. She just like there. Um, oh, Sweetie is pissed, but I don't think she knew that Ziggy attracts some hate. Ooh, yeah. I believe Fred never suspected Andy until Ziggy put it in his head. That could be. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, I find it pretty suspicious that Fred is insisting. He's insisting that, Andy is like, you know, um, the number one player in Summer's case. What I'm talking about is he's acting like Andy was boss over all of this. Like Andy was the one, head of this group of people. Like Andy has all control, and um and he's running this shit show um on Ben Hill Road of all these people, with all these people lying and hiding and bullshitting us and playing all these games like he's top dog of it all. And everybody else, Fred's a victim to Andy and the stuff that Andy does, and you know, um, that's that's the feeling I've been getting for a while out of Fred. You know, like he's tired of Andy being the big shot, and he's going, and and him being one of the small fries in the group. And, now he's going to, you know, try to become a big dog as well, just in a different way and atmosphere. Like out here in the YouTube world, the squiller. He's going to be top dog, playing the squiller. Um, and, on the inside of Ben Hill Road. Um, but a lying type squilling, right? Like I'm a big liar type squilling. That's what I get. That's what I get out of it. Right, Jersey Devil? Exactly. Exactly. That cracks me up. Yes, yes. Did you notice that too, Sherry? Oh, she wouldn't like talk. I mean, you almost want to say, "Why don't you shut up? Why don't you shut up, Ziggy, and let Fred answer the questions?" Right? Fred's a big boy. He's a big boy. Let him speak for himself, right? And they're not talking to her; they're talking to him. They want to talk to him, and she just keeps interrupting and answering all the questions for him, and you know, and you know, and she don't know nothing. She don't know nothing. I mean, she ain't she wasn't there. She wasn't there. All she's doing is trying to keep Fred's story straight because she knows he can't. Put a one in the chat if you agree. She's sitting there trying to keep his shit straight because he can't keep his own shit straight. He's told so many different damn lies. He can't keep his shit straight. So now she's trying to, keeping on a path of, of one story so people believe him, because he's changing it up all the time because he can't remember, one thing from the other. I think, how it is. This is an egg, crack it in the skillet, and this is an egg on illegal substances, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think old boy is the egg. The egghead that, in the skillet. That's, big old Mr. Potato Head Fred. Right? All empty. All empty. Empty. Once you put Mr. Potato Head together, there, there's only a few spare parts, right? Left inside the potato head. Yeah, it's all scrambled. That's true. That's true. I agree with you. But anyway, he's so messed up. It's bullshit. And Ziggy's a liar too. They both liars. They both damn liars. Both of them. Is and
Right here.
Candace. Wait, that's the wrong one. All right, that's the wrong one. Let me tell you something. June 15th started with Grandma's knee, right? Early morning. They get up June 15th. They wake up early in the morning. What's the odds of these motherfuckers waking up early in the morning? I mean, they run until 2 or 3 o'clock, right? And, um, I mean, Candace, she don't stop till she drops, right? She's got that bottle to her lips, and you know, she got that damn bottle to her lips until there ain't nothing left in it, and she starts about uh 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and she goes till about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the damn morning. Her and Donald, and then finally they pass out, and and Don, his own boss. So, he gets up whenever he wants to get up. He goes to work whenever he wants to go to work. And, Candace told Chris M, oh, well, some are asleep. She'll sleep till, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the day if I let her. Yeah, that's what Candace does. Don gets up whenever he wants. He goes on to work. And Candace's big ass lays in that bed, and Grandma lays in that bed because they stayed up half the damn night, right? Roasting marshmallows, hooping and a hollering on that hill, um, keeping that bottle to their lips until it ran dry. The next day they're looking to get more. The next day they're looking to get more. Don makes sure that he stops by the store and loads up on cigarettes and and the bottles of stuff that they're going to do, and he probably already loaded up on other stuff, other places. And he comes home, and Candace done went out and got some dollars pizzas, right? So she can feel good about feeding the kids once a day, a dollar pizza. Eat that pizza, drink some water, and be glad you got it. And you know, those kids, they sitting around starving. In my opinion, they sure the hell look like it. And and they do what they do. And they do what they do. But on June 15th, 2021, these people who have a freaking repetition of, not even fucking seeing daylight till noon, are up bright and early in the morning. They're all up bright and early and taking Grandma in the middle of the summertime, too. This is when school's out. You don't have to get up and go to school. You don't have to do none of this stuff. But they get up bright and early and they take Grandma into Kingsport because of her knee. She's able to get up and walk to the vehicle and get in. She's able to take, that long drive all the way into Kingsport. She's able to get out and go into an emergency room all by her damn self and walk around and go back to the back with the doctors. And this don't sound like somebody that's got a fucked up, really bad off hurting knee to me. Now, I've been around people who have had, knee injuries, ankle injuries, and I'm going to tell you what, those mother freakers were hanging on to me. They was using me for a crutch. I had to get out and help them. I had first help them to the vehicle. Then I had to help them, out of the vehicle. And they're all leaning on you like, and you have to stop every few minutes because they're like, oh, wait. And they have to let the pain subside before they can continue to walk on. So you have to go completely with them. And then once you get in there, you got to get a wheelchair and you got to push them, in there. And then you got to push them in the back and you got to stay with them. And then you're glad you got the wheelchair because now they ain't going to be using you for a crutch. You can push them all the way back to the vehicle, right? And help them get in. And when you get home, you still have to be a human crutch again if they didn't get none. Hopefully the doctor gave them some and didn't give you a little ticket to go to the pharmacy and find some, or place that a medical supply store. But if they got them at the hospital, most of the time they do. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. Depends on where you're at, what hospital you're going to. But if you didn't get your little prescription for some crutches, and you get lucky and they have some and they're able to adjust them and give it to the person, then you don't get used for a crutch when you get home. But this person ain't walking the way Grannis was walking. Just if you really have pain like that, you're not going to fucking be able to do everything this woman was doing June 15, 2021. At the time, they took his little girl off and all of this stuff happened to her. I don't believe it. But that's how the morning started out. With some fake ass. If you ask me, this is my opinion. It started out with some fake ass fucking knee shit. And Granny being the victim of a bad knee. That's my opinion. And I'll tell you another thing. I know Allison is no longer with us, but I think Allison was as much in on this shit as everybody else was. That's just my opinion. Right? I mean, I don't know. But it sure in the hell seems like it. Her cameras were missing. She fucked up and said she knew that they were going swimming and not fishing. She, a whole lot of stuff is pointing to good old Allison knowing exactly what the hell happened and went down that day. I think Allison knew Candace was coming to pick up Hunter. I mean, that's my opinion. I'll keep it, right? But it all started out with the fake knee shit. And no Fred, because I know Fred's always got his head in the bushes. He's always watching, got his head in the bushes. But no, Fred, Marlena was not being looked into or investigated about no birth certificates. That's bullshit. You and Ziggy sit there and you motherfucking lied. You two lied. Right? That was a big old damn lie. She wasn't ever investigated about no birth certificate. And that's bullshit. Why are you guys saying that about her? There's no record nowhere. And Marlena's got a pretty good record. Right? But she ain't got no record of that, Fred. None. Marlena was being looked into and investigated along with her sister-in-law over SA upon Marlena's daughter. That's what they were being investigated about. Why didn't you bring that up? Fred, Ziggy, why didn't you bring that up on that channel? Why didn't you tell the truth as to why she was being investigated? Hmm, that makes me wonder, Fred. It makes me wonder why you didn't want to share that bit of information right there about Marlena and her sister-in-law, who was hanging up on Ben Hill Road, where Jody Sue said Andy was supplying stuff to sedate the little girls. Not just Summer, but other little girls too. And you were up on Ben Hill Road hanging at 110 as well, Fred, because you went up there and you was upset about, hey, Carla, I appreciate that, girlfriend. All right, super sticker. Hey, girl, I appreciate it. But Fred, you went up there and you was upset when you saw Jody Sue's son outside in the swimming pool with Summer and nobody else was out there but you, Jody Sue's son, and Summer. Don, Candace, all the boys were in the house. And you was pretty upset. Donnie Candace wasn't upset about it. None of her brothers were upset about it that I know of. But you were very upset. You was very upset, like, what is this guy up here? Why is this guy up here before me? What is he doing up here before me? It's almost like you was there for the same thing he was there for, and you knew what he was there for because you were there for it as well. Right? That's what it sounded like to me when you run your mouth about it. Put a one in the chat if you guys agree. Didn't it sound like Fred knew what was going on when he got upset with Jody Sue's son? Because he acted like he knew what Jody Sue's son was doing and thinking. Well, if he knew what Jody Sue's son was doing and thinking, then he must have been there ready to do and think the same thing. Right? He had to know. Because if I go up there and I see, two kids in a pool, I'm not going to think anything. I'm going to think, that everybody else is in the house, watching TV, playing game machines, maybe getting some food. And they're out there, still cooling off because it's hot as hell outside. And this is the only AC they got, right? That's the only AC these people have, is some cold water to splash around in to keep all of that heat off of them. So I'm going to, I'm not going to think a lot of it. If I go up there and I'm staring and I'm thinking some dirty-minded stuff, then obviously, I know what's going on. And probably dear, for the same reason, and pissed off because somebody else, it's there before, right? Because most people don't, most people who sloppy seconds ain't their style. That's the way folks are. And that's what it sounds like, Fred was doing. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, he act like he walked in. He acted like he walked in and saw somebody, that he knew what they do and was jealous, right? Was jealous. Like, I think we all have had those girlfriends, I think all of us have had those girlfriends or that, for the guys, this guy friend that you can't trust. You can't trust them around your old man. Why? Because they've already been with everybody else's old man, right? So if you see them creeping around where you're at, where your old man's at, you're thinking, oh, so, so now you're after, now your ass is after my old man. I don't think so, right? I mean, those are the people who get shunned. You don't want them around your house. You don't want them around your old man because you know who and how and what they are, right? And this is how Fred is acting. He's acting like, he knows why this guy's there. And he's acting like, he has some ownership to Summer, right? Like, I mean, that's disgusting. I can understand, a woman not wanting something like that around her husband. I can understand a man not wanting, another man around his wife that, but I cannot understand grown ass people thinking this kind of stuff when it comes to a 5-year-old child that nobody, no damn body should be. I'm going to tell you, where the hell was Don and Candace, and why were they not watching their little girl out there? That's the real question. That's the real question right there. Why the hell was they all in the house letting this big ass, grown ass boy play around in a pool with their daughter? What the hell was this old man Fred doing up there? Like it's, like it's his turn next. Getting all upset about somebody else being there already. What the hell's all that shit about? I think that's what, these people should be asking Ziggy and Fred. Just my opinion. I think that's what they should be asking them. I think somebody needs to be asking Fred, why the hell was you upset about Jody Sue's son being in a pool with Summer? And why was you thinking dirty thoughts in your mind if you didn't have some kind of indication that this is what's going on? And why was you upset that he was already there? What was you there for? What the hell was you there for? And why was you showing anger? Why was you showing anger that somebody else was with this little girl? She's 5 years old. 5 years old. Nobody should be thinking anything dirty-minded about a 5-year-old child. Fred shouldn't have been thinking it. Jody Sue's son shouldn't have been thinking it. Nobody should be damn thinking it. I'm going to tell you something. You're sick. Man, you're sick. You are mentally mother freaking sick. If you could, if you could think that way about a child. There's something fucking seriously wrong with you, and you certainly need to go get some professional fucking help. That's all I got to say. Who in the hell thinks that way about a 5-year-old child? You know something? That kind of shit pisses me off. I'm just going to say it. It pisses me the fuck off. I'm going to tell you right now. These mother freaking sickos need to let little girls be little girls. And they need to let little boys be little boys. They need to keep their dirty fucking hands the hell off of children. That's just the way it is. Bunch of sick-minded mother freaking weirdos. Who in the hell thinks that way? What the fucking hell is wrong with them? They sicken the fuck out of me. That's what they do. They sicken the hell out of me. Just saying. I'm going to tell you, Fred, you sicken the fuck out of me. And so does Jody Sue's old boy. And so does Don and Candace Wells. And so does fucking Andy Bernard and Jody Sue. Motherfucking Laura sickens me. All of you motherfucking sickos sicken me. Marlena Crawford, her sister-in-law, all sicken the hell out of me. What the fuck is wrong with you people? What the hell is wrong with you? I don't give a fuck. You know, nobody else seems to have enough fucking ass to come out here and tell these sick son of a bitches the way it is. They just don't have no ass. These motherfreakers need somebody to let them know that they are mentally fucked up and they need some serious damn help and they really should go get it ASA fucking P, right? For real. Just saying. Ain't no child should ever, no fucking adult human should ever think, this should not even cross your damn mind to touch a child. It should not even cross your mind. Grown-up people have no business touching a child any way, form, or fucking how. You don't have a right to abuse them in any way, form, or how. They are not your property. They are not your damn property. Children, God gives them to you to take care of as a gift. You are gifted with that child and you are supposed to watch over that child. And I'm going to tell you, if a freaking mother dog can do better watching over its children than a parent, a human being, it's pretty sad. It is pretty sad because even animals, even freaking animals watch over their children. You're more disgusting in lower life than an animal. Humans are supposed to be above animals. They're supposed to be smarter, more evolved. God gave you domain over everything. Over everything. You're supposed to be the ones that are protecting your children from animals. Whether they're four-legged or two-legged, you're supposed to be keeping your children safe from them. And you have these parents today, and you have these, and you know, it's not even just parents. It's not even just parents. Because, you know, we got to add a lot of these other children into this equation. Because, you know, there's cases out there where it wasn't the parent. It was the parents' friends they had hanging around. It was just a random weirdo like that around. And these weirdos have no mother freaking rights to be violating any child at any time. But it's even worse. It's even worse when the people that's supposed to be protecting this child, like Don and Candace, the one that's supposed to be protecting them, fucking are the ones, you know, destroying their own child. They're taking liberties, and you know, Don and Candace's minds, and still, even right now, in Don and Candace's minds, they feel like they own their kids. They act like they own those children. I got news for people. When God, you come into this world alone and you go out of this world alone. And God gave each person the right to live and the freedom to be who they are. And nobody owns nobody. When you have children, God gave you that gift of a child so that you would have, so you would have somebody there to, to love and to care about and to protect and to take care of. And one day, hopefully you don't need them, but one day if you do need your children, well, they'll return all the love, kindness, and caring that you showed them. They'll return it by helping and taking care of you. But God gives you kids because they're a gift. He gives you kids because they say stuff that's going to make you laugh. They make you want to live. They make you want to see another day, right? He gives you these kids because these kids, they need someone to take care of them. They need someone to help them fulfill their dreams in life. And God trusted you enough to be that person. You don't own that child. That's God's child. Just like you were God's child. That child's God's child as well. And that child loves to live just like you love to live. And that child loves to be cared about and loved and taken care of just like you do as well. So why are you not treating it with the utmost grace and respect in this world? Why are you not letting it be its own free person and grow into whatever type of beautiful adult it wants to end up being? God trusted you to do that. But Don Wells don't see it that way, and neither does that fucking narrow-minded piece of shit old lady he's hanging with. Both of them are mentally fucking disturbed. Something about them ain't clicking right in their brain. And they think they own their kids. Those my kids. We can treat them how we want to treat them, do them however we want to do them, and it's nobody else's damn business. Well, motherfucker, it's everybody's damn business. Let me tell you that right now. When you're freaking using and abusing little children like that, it is the whole world's business. No child should be done like that. And that child can't defend itself. And if you can't be the person to defending your children, then somebody else is going to have to step in and defend them against you, right? That's why we got children's services. That's why we've got law enforcement. That's why we got court systems. Because when your ass ain't doing what is righteous in the sight of God for your children, then someone else has to step in and do what's right. And you find out real quick, you don't own shit. You don't own you cannot own other human beings. You ain't allowed to do that. That is mother freaking inhumane. But there's a lot of Don and Candace Wells in this world, believe it or not. There's a lot of them. And a lot of children out there are being used and abused. And it's nothing right about it. Nothing righteous about it. Yeah. He didn't want to talk about the real reason that Marlena Crawford got investigated. Why? Because it leads back to what the hell was going on inside Ben Hill Road. And guess who lives inside Ben Hill Road during this whole time? Fred Hill, right? Good old Freddie boy. Good old Fred. And I'm going to tell you, he sits around and acts like he don't know a damn thing about Andy, but he's Andy's cousin. I'm going to tell you something. I can tell you everything about my damn cousins. And I tell you, a lot of them I didn't even hang with. A lot of them I didn't overly know. But I tell you every damn thing about them. You know why? Because when you live in a family where you got cousins, and you got aunts, and you got uncles, and you got all these people, and you got your parents and your grandparents, you learn about everybody's damn business because they talk about it all, don't they? They talk about it all. You don't have to see nobody to know all their damn business. Because everybody likes to talk about somebody else's business and not their own. That's how family is. That's how family is. They don't want to talk about them. They want to talk about everybody else. When they come to visit and drink coffee and eat pie, they're talking about every motherfucking body but them. They're talking about their neighbors. They're talking about their doctor. They're talking about their, their brothers, their sisters, their freaking aunts, uncles, other people's kids, everything. You didn't learn a damn thing about them. But you sure to hell learned everything about everybody else, didn't you? Because that's how they are. And Fred, I'm going to tell you, old boy's all ears. Freddie's all ears, right? He's all ears. He knew every bit of Andy. I mean, he knew Andy's dad and mom. He knew everything they owned. He knew everything about them, right? And I'm going to tell you another thing. Fred tries to say, put a one in the chat if you heard Fred say that he told law enforcement about that Andy's other property where Andy and Jody Sue lived before they moved up there on Ben Hill Road. You know, the all growed up place with the big freaking gate thing that went back in there. Andy's mom and dad, the other property they owned. Jody Sue and Andy lived there before they lived up on Ben Hill. And Fred said he reported that, right? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's not true. That's not true. You go back. You go way back to the beginning. And you mother freaking and you watch my videos. I was the first one. I was the first one to call that property out. I was the first one to research it and find it and call it out. Yes. This channel right here. Fred did not say a damn thing about it. We was the first ones to report that. And law enforcement went and checked it. They went and checked it. Fred didn't do that. He's a liar. Marlene and her daughter did not get dropped off on the morning of the 15th, 2021. Hell no. There was a mother freaking tree trimmers had the road blocked. And the tree trimmer told law enforcement personally that they had went up to Candace's vehicle that morning as they were leaving out of Ben Hill Road and talked to her, and they saw Summer in the back seat. They said Candace, Grandis, and the little girl was in the back seat. They seen them. walked all the way up to the vehicle. There was not two little girls and a mother in the back with Candace and Grandis. There was just Summer in the back and Candace and Grandis in the vehicle. That's it. Nobody else was inside that vehicle. Why in the hell is Fred Hill lying? Why the fuck does he feel a need to play games and spread false shit in this little girl's case? Why? Why does he want to jumble up and fuck up this little girl's case if he didn't have anything to do with what happened to Summer? If he had no part in it and knew nothing about it, why does he feel the need to continue to, to try to fuck up her case with a bunch of bullshit damn lies? Can somebody answer that for me? Because I find that very damn suspicious. That just like Don and Candace, just like Jody, Sue, and Andy, just like, Marlena and the rest of them weirdos surrounding this case, Fred's playing the same shit. He's playing the same. No, it ain't guilt, honey. It's not no guilt. He's wanting to purposely fuck up Summer's case along with the rest of them fucking weirdos for a reason. For a reason. And I think, I truly believe that they came out here and they've been doing all of this in order to deter law enforcement, to overwhelm and deter law enforcement and wear law enforcement down to the point they cannot solve the case, or they just, don't want to. It's too much for them. They're tired, they're overwhelmed with the phone calls and all the bullshit, and everything, and they just get discouraged, and that keeps Dawn and Candace and all these weirdos out of prison. Summer's case ain't solved. They're free to be free, right? That's what they want. Marlena's daughter was dropped off by Grandis on Saturday. Saturday, they have Saturday church. And after Saturday church, Grandis took, on June the 12th, Saturday, June the 12th, 2021, Grandis went to Marlene, where Marlena was staying, and dropped off Journey. The very same day this picture was taken, and Summer was looking very, very sick. Summer was looking very sick, and I don't think that they wanted Marlena. I think they were afraid Marlena's daughter was going to see, hear, or learn something that they did not want her seeing, hearing, or learning. So they took her home and dropped her off because Summer was just getting worse. Her condition, whatever was wrong, was getting worse. And they were trying like hell to hide it until they could, do what needed to be done to keep from going to prison. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. She was. You could tell that she From the time they cut all her hair off, you could tell she was deteriorating at a very rapid speed. She was deteriorating. But Fred lied. He lied. And I don't understand why he lied. On June 15, 2021, at 4:30, Candace went to Fred Hill's house and met up with Chad Arnold. Where was Fred and Laura? Where was Fred and Laura? Because Fred first said that they was hauling cars. Him and Laura said they was hauling cars to the scrapyard. They said they had made it to the scrapyard. They got money. They went to they had to pick up some things. They went, got something to eat, picked up some stuff, and then they went back to Ben Hill Road. And when they got back, when they found out that Summer was missing because law enforcement was all over the place. That's when they learned what was going on. Now, that was their initial story. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember them initially saying that. That is the initial story that these creeps were talking at the beginning. I know because I was there and I heard the whole damn line of shit firsthand out of their mouths. So I know for a fact that's exactly what their story was. Oh yeah, she definitely does. She definitely knows more than she's saying. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, Sherry, we're going to get to that tonight. We're going to get to that. Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, where was Fred and Laura? Because then Fred and Laura said they did make it to the junkyard. They said they did make it. Then they said they was hauling motorcycles. First, it was one motorcycle with a guy they didn't know, hadn't ever seen again. Then it was 2 motorcycles for a guy they did know, and they do see all the time, right? I mean, their story kept changing. Their story kept changing. Right? If only they would fucking take baths and change their clothes that often, they might have been a little smarter and we might not be here today, right? Because that would have meant that they actually gave a shit about themselves. And people who give a shit about themselves give a shit about other people. But they didn't give a shit about themselves. And they didn't give a shit about other people. And that's exactly why we're here right now. Because all of these people knew exactly what was going on up there. And none of them bothered to step in and help. Now, Fred Hill also said that Don Wells had Candace and his first wife and all of them up there in like 2014 on Ben Hill Road, and that they had a sign up. They had to sign up talking about, what they supplied, as in, trafficking type stuff. What what they supplied and how much it would cost and so forth and so on. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Don Wells and his first wife, actually lived in Tennessee and at the bottom of that property years ago. Years ago, they went there, and Don was living in a trailer down at the bottom of his mother's property when Don Wells' first kids was real little. Pam's children, Pam and Donald, and their kids went there when little Don and Margie was small. They went there and was living at the bottom of the property. Law enforcement came in, arrested Don, took him back up to Utah, and Pam left and took the kids and went back up to Utah as well. Now Mary can back what I'm saying. She knows all about it. Don getting arrested and Pam and the kids coming back into Utah. And they didn't even know Candace at that time. They didn't even know Candace. And then around 2014 is when Don and Candace, when Candace was, just had Josie. She had Josie in Arkansas, the oldest boy. And Don and Candace brought Josie and came into Tennessee to live with his mother, acting like they was going to take care of her and they was going to help her and they was going to do all this stuff to her, with her and to her. And they done stuff to her all right. They came in there and they made that woman's life a living freaking hell. And she was telling everybody that would listen all the shit they was putting her through. And that's the truth. That's the truth. I talked to these people firsthand that was helping take care of this woman. They were the ones taking care of her, not Don and Candace. And I talked to them firsthand, and they said that Don's mother would tell them how horrible Don and Candace was and how she wished she would have not ever let them come and live in her house. She regretted everything she did, every decision she made about letting them two come and live with her. Yes, she did. And there was no Pam. Pam was left back in Arkansas. It was Don, Candace, and the one baby they had that they came and moved in there with. So Fred don't know what the hell he's talking about. And he's making up lies. Actually, he's, it's distractions. Fred don't see what he's saying as lies. He's seeing it as distractions. Distractions away from the real truth of what happened to Summer Moon Utah Wells. Right? And that's what Don and Candace has been doing too. They've been doing everything, talking about everything that's a distraction away from the truth of what happened to this little girl. They want to, that's the game. That's the game, is to keep everybody focused on a bunch of bullshit so you won't be focused on the real truth of what needs to be focused on. Right? They're playing the devil's old game. They're playing the same game that that in my opinion our government plays. They want to put your focus on a whole bunch of bullshit so you ain't looking at the big picture. Right? So you ain't looking at the real shit you need to be looking at. And they got your attention on one thing, you better start looking around at what they don't want your attention on. And that's the same way with Summer's case. When they're putting your attention on all this bullshit, you need to start looking around at what they're not wanting your attention on. And they're not wanting your attention on the real victim, Summer Moon. That's their fucking strategy right there. They think, they think that we the people are narrow minded. They think that, that they can do this, that they can gaslight and bullshit the hell out of you because they've been gaslighting and bullshitting the hell out of people all their fucking lives. And they've been getting away with it. They've been getting away with it because people let them. People don't give a damn enough not to let them. Now the old folks, oh, you wouldn't have bullshitted them. They wouldn't have let you. You wouldn't have sit there and blow smoke up their asses. They'd have said, oh no, absolutely not. They'd have asked you, what the hell you trying to get my focus off of with your bullshit? The truth? Because I think that's what you're doing. But these people were very wise. These people were very smart. And these people didn't like being bullshitted. I dreamed I was in a car and Can was driving, going to find Summer, and we never did get there. I woke up. That sounds about right. Because you know what that dream was telling you? Is that bitch ain't ever going to take you to where Summer is. That dream was telling you she knows where Summer is. Because you were in the car going to go there. But the reason, you didn't get there is because the dream was letting you know that this bitch don't ever intend on letting anyone know where this little girl is. I think she's right across the street where Andy said. That's my opinion. But where was Fred and Laura? Where was good old Fred and Laura on June 15th, 2021? Now, Fred said, that he couldn't go nowhere. He couldn't go crush cars or do anything because Andy was all over the road holding him inside the holler all day long. That he just couldn't do nothing because of Andy and all of Andy's traffic in there, right? All of Andy's traffic inside Ben Hill Road. Hey, PG's little girl, super sticker. All right, girl, appreciate it. Appreciate the support for Summer's channel. Thank you. But yeah, if the Fred thought, and that's another thing. You remember Fred act like, Candace could have been down there trying to put Summer's body somewhere on his property. But then he said on that talk show, and he said his property wasn't ever searched. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard that. He said his property wasn't ever searched. Well, if you think somebody came down there and put a kid on your property somewhere, ain't you going to search it? Just give me a quick yes or no. Because you know what? If I thought somebody put a kid on my property, I'm going to go over every damn inch of it with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to be mother free, and I'm going to insist law enforcement looks upon it too. If somebody's kid came up missing and they had their ass on my property earlier, before they called law enforcement, I'm going to mother freaking insist law enforcement look over every inch of my property to make sure that child isn't there, right? Absolutely, you are. Absolutely. Yes, you are. Um, yeah, that's a concern. That's a concern. Look, PG's little girl. That is a concern, right? You know, during this case, during this case, all of these people, all of these people here came up on a live. Take a look see. Take a look see. 4 years, 5 months, and take a look see at how many people have lost their life. And let's not forget Roy Cotton. Let's not forget Roy Cotton. Let's not forget him. Summer was in the custody of Candace and Grandis from 7 a.m. in the morning to 5:55 p.m. on June 15, 2021. Summer supposedly came up missing between 5:55 and 6:05 p.m. on June 15, 2021. Fred Hill says he seen Dawn coming down the driveway um, at 110 Ben Hill Road around 2:30 p.m. Said that at 3:30 he sees Andy on Ben Hill Road. So, Fred is saying he saw Dawn and he saw Andy on June 15, 2021, all over Ben Hill Road. Um, that's total bullshit. That's total bullshit. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Don ran to work and hid. He ran to work with that vehicle because it has Starlink, and he made sure that everybody that could saw his ass that day because he was scared and he knew what was going down, and there was no way in hell that he was going anywhere until Candace called him and said everything, you need to come home. She's missing. Everything's done. That's the everything's done, Don. You can come home now. Law enforcement's going to be all over the place, but you better come home, right? Everything's done. And Andy, oh, he seemed to get a text from Jody Sue. He seemed to know when to come home as well. He was driving Jody Sue's car that had GPS. These two guys didn't drive vehicles that day with Starlink and GPS to be all over Ben Hill Road. They drove those two cars to make sure that law enforcement knew exactly where their asses was, along with their telephones, and that was at fucking work all day long, so they didn't get no blame for nothing. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, they mapped this shit out carefully. Right here. Andy was at work all day on June 15th. I've even called and checked. Other people have called and checked. He was at work. He was at work. That's why he was driving the GPS. Because he wanted, he wanted that alibi. And Don Wells, I think Andy suggested to Don to drive Candace's car with the Starlink for the extra alibi. And he was driving Jody Sue's because Andy worked as a mechanic. He knew about this shit. Do I believe that Andy was a mastermind? Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt in my fucking mind. But here Fred is chasing cars around his fucking head, right? Chasing hard cars around his head. Forget what we're told before we get too old, right? Show me a garden that's bursting into life. Let's chase cars around our heads. Right? Yeah, there you go. That's Freddie Boy's song. That's Freddie's song right there. Right? There you go. Fred, I even put the lyrics for you, Fred. I put the lyrics down so you start singing them, right? Let's chase cars around our heads. There you go. And it's definitely a song. He's probably asking Ziggy, if I laid here, if I just lay here, will you lie with me and just forget the world? All right. Yeah. She's like, oh, hell yeah, baby, I'll lie right here with you and forget the world. Right? I'll tell big ass lies. I'll do whatever you want me to, Freddie boy, just so you stay with my nasty ass. Right? Because no fucking body else wants to. No way in hell. No way in hell. Look at that baby's arm. Look at that baby's arm. Pinned in behind that milk jug, right? Pinned in behind that milk jug. Look at her hat. Look at her hat. You could tell that somebody pulled that hat to adjust her head on those milk jugs. I'm going to tell you right now. No way in fucking hell. No way in fucking hell was this little girl's arms up over her head the way this bitch is acting like. No way. That's another damn lie because that's all they do. That's all they do is sit there and lie their asses off. She took this video. She took this video with Summer. Summer was dressed at Allison's house. Hunter plainly said she was laying against the driver's side door. Against. He said she was laying over against the driver's side door on that pillow. She's the only one in the car wet. He didn't even want to admit he was wet. When we saw his ass go into the water, you'll see it in a minute. He went into the water. His ass was wet too. How? You could see in the video pictures. I took still shots. You could see his pants were already starting to get wet as he walked into the water on June 15th, 2021. After summer. He was going in after summer. Right towards this little girl who is now all propped up. And they took this video because they wanted to let law enforcement know that she was close back to the house so they could put the abduction shit out. It's all part of their fucking dirty damn plan. And they're carrying the plan out. And that was part of it. As you can see, Candace is very fond of little boys, right? She's very fond of little boys. Why? Because she can groom them. She can take advantage of them. Oh, you like cigarettes? You like twisted teas? You like the goody good stuff? You like to have all this stuff that you ain't old enough to buy and mommy and daddy don't want you to have, but you want to do? Well, I'll do you if you do me, right? And here she is hanging on them, and they don't want to hang on her. They don't want to hang on her. But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what teenagers will do. You know what they'll do to get what they want, right? They'll do some crazy shit. Teenagers will do some crazy stuff to get what they want. To be you know out of control and doing what they want to do. And I mean, we all had the teenage mind, right? We all had the teenage mind at one time. And we know how destructive it can be, right? We know how destructive a teenage mind can be. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of them will. A lot of them will. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of teenagers want to follow the crowd. You have different ones, but I'm going to tell you something about teenagers. Most of them, well, almost every teenager regrets a whole lot of shit they did as a teenager. I mean, you go back and you can see where you went wrong, right? You can definitely see where you went wrong. You didn't go wrong in your mother freaking young adulthood. You didn't go wrong in middle age. You mother freaking went wrong in your teen years. You didn't go wrong when when you were a little kid. You mother freaking went wrong in your teenage years. Everybody goes wrong in their teenage years, right? They're looking for acceptance. They're looking for they're ready to grab a hold of being an adult. They're looking for acceptance from other people. They want to be part of the crowd. They want and they go headlong down that freaking fast lane, and they crash, right? They crash into the wall. They screw up, they mess up, they do stuff that they don't know why they did it. They don't know why the hell they did it. They just did it. Or they could sit there and say, oh, it's because because of the people I was hanging with. No. Oh, it's because of this. It's because of no. I mean, it can't be all these reasons. It can't be all these reasons. There's only one reason. You were a teenager and you got took advantage of. You got took advantage of. Because you were too eager. You're too eager to want to be out there and be accepted. Just like these kids right here. Just like these kids. You had old Mrs. Groomer. You had old Mrs. Groomer there, right? Well, there's Mrs. and Mr. Groomers. It don't take much, to talk people into doing what you want them to do. It don't take a whole hell of a lot. It's teenage minds. Teenage minds are very destructive because they think they want things that they don't. They think they're old enough to do shit that they ain't. It's a very destructive time. And that's why, a lot of parents try to keep a hold of their teenagers. That's why they try to watch their teenagers real close, because they know how fast teenagers can get in trouble. It's just how it is. Who celebrates a birthday talking about missing kids? Was it, who was talking about a birthday? Mama of five. Who was talking about birthday? Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. And that is so true, little PG. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Candace, Candace, I'm going to tell you now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, she's a mother freaking groomer. She's one of those, she's just as sick and as weird as Dom Wells and the rest of those people that, do evil stuff to children. That's my opinion. She's just as mother fucking dangerous and sick as them people are. It is what it is. Oh yeah, Fred won't talk really one on one with with anybody. He did me. He did me. He talked one on one with me. That's true. He did talk one on one with me. Oh, wow. Ziggy title Fred's birthday summer discussion. Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, that is so true. So true. PG's little girl. But also, let's remember, Hunter lied also about being up at the Wells house. He's like, I noticed her hair was cut. When Candace came and picked him up, I noticed her hair. Right there, he is. Right there. Look at the outfit he's wearing. Look at the outfit he's wearing. That's him. That's him. That's the same black pants he's wearing here. It's him standing behind this little girl. But he act like he hadn't seen her or knew. Why he wants to separate himself. Why is Hunter lying? Why is he lying? Why does he act like he wasn't, up on the hill just a few weeks before he went to the swimming hole with them? Why is he lying? I'll tell you why he's lying, because he feels like he needs to protect his ass. There he is. Look at that look. This is when he first realized Candace had turned on a video. And look at him. Look at his face. Like, what the fuck you doing? Look at it. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Look at him. Straight up, you guys. I mean, pictures, man, they're worth 1,000 words. Take a look at it. Take a look at how he's looking. I'm going to tell you, this kid looks dangerous. Take a look at that boy. Would you want to meet up with this fucking boy? Would you want to meet up with him in a dark alley? Hell no. Hell no, you wouldn't want to meet up with that in a dark alley. Not if you ain't prepared for it, right? Not if you ain't prepared. That's why it's important to stay prepared, because that's the shit you be meeting up with. But look at his britches. They're in the water. They're in the water. And also, I want to call something else out. I pulled off my shirt and ran out to see if to see if she's out. He didn't pull off no fucking shirt. He didn't have a damn shirt on. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, freaking Flubber. Oh, Flubber didn't have a shirt on. He had no damn shirt on. Look at that right there. No shirt. He didn't pull shit off to go out in that water. He didn't have one on. Hell no. There he is. He didn't go out to save her. Look, she ain't under no water. You can see where he starts going out there. She's under nothing. He's a damn liar. He was afraid if they found Summer. He said she went underwater because he was afraid if they did find her, they're going to now understand what caused her, to be unalived. And in my opinion, it's drowning. It's drowning. That's my opinion. In my opinion, Candace had this boy go out in that water and drown this little girl for her. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And I think that's why he made up the lie of pulling his shirt off, running out there, and acting like he saved her. And then acting like a possible dry drowning. No, she didn't dry drown. I believe that he went right out there and did a dirty deed for Candace. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And what better place to do it? You can't scream if you're getting drowned. Even if you're trying to scream, no one's going to hear you underwater. They took her out here. I think they thought about going to a water park and having something like this happen and act like it was a big accident. But they realized that there's going to be an autopsy. So they decided, no, we better not do that. That's why he was talking about the water park. They knew that they better not do that. They rethought it, and they decided to go out here. And that's why the boys were left at home. They only took Summer because they had this planned, and they pulled it through. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. Just saying. I don't believe, I don't know this Serafina lady. I don't know this Serafina lady. I have no idea who this lady is. I don't get into that woo-woo stuff. Okay? I stay away from it. Like, I don't even like watching that kind of shit. I don't like hearing those kind of people talking. I just don't think we're supposed to be, I mean, in the Bible, when the man had the witch call a disciple up out of the grave, He got in a lot of trouble. And that disciple told him, "Why are you disturbing my rest?" I'm going to tell you, you better not be messing with that kind of stuff. You best leave that kind of stuff alone. And I don't know. I don't know what that woman was seeing. Now, she talks about seeing some horrible stuff going on, with Summer. Um, I'm not doubting. I'm not doubting that horrible stuff like that didn't happen. Matter of fact, in my opinion, it was horrible stuff like that that led up to the horrible stuff like this. Summer having to be unalived. But, all that other weird stuff, I'm going to tell you, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. And I'm going to tell you what, why is Fred Hill still whispering to Dawn? Why is Fred Hill, 4 years, 5 months later, why is he still whispering to Dawn Wells? Don't you guys ever find it funny that all of these mother freakers are still intertwined? Do you not find it funny that, like when the gravesite came out and people started going over there, did you not find it funny that Andy Bernard and Fred and Dawn and Candace and all of these people were grouping up? Even Hunter's freaky dad, they were all grouping up. They were all working together to go on the attack. About that graveyard and so forth and so on. Do you guys not find that weird? Just saying. I pay attention to shit. I pay full attention in this case. You can't solve a case if you ain't going to pay attention. If you're not willing to, if you're not willing to put in the time and observe and do the research and everything, of course it ain't going to get solved. I mean, it'd be easier. It'd be easier, to go around the mulberry bush and everything and just entertainment type stuff. It'd be a hell of a lot easier, a lot less stressful too. But that ain't righteous to the little girl. That ain't righteous to this little victim who is counting on everybody to do what's righteous in the sight of God, and actually do take the extra steps to find the truth, to find her, bring her home, get justice for her. It's not righteous to her. But we also had these two lying about a scream. Jody Sue told Candace, "Where's my money? Where's my money, bitch? I'm not changing the time of that scream, but where's my money you promised? Where's my half of all that shit you're getting?" She wasn't giving Candace half of what she got. But Candace didn't make up no scream for her either. She made up a scream for Candace and even put her son in on it. Then she wanted her son to go in on, a restraining order against his dad. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I've done enough. I ain't doing that." Right? That's my dad. He ain't even here. Why do you need a restraining order? I'm not going along with that shit. But he went along with the scream. Animalistic scream that came over an hour too damn soon. Right? A damn scream that was like fucking more than an hour off. A scream that came right at the time that Candace and Grandis would have been planting flowers, getting candy, washing hands, walking back to the house, You know, I'm going to tell you, they planned, but they fucked up. They fucked up. They didn't plan it perfect. They made mistakes. Those mistakes have been caught. And if somebody needs to ask, you know, these woo-wooers, out there, they need to ask these woo-wooers if Summer was given away to somebody else for, a debt that was supposed to return her, but because the case blew up so big, you know, they destroyed her instead. If that's the case, then why in the hell are these three people right here? Why did Grandis run like hell? Why is Donnie Candace, you know, lying their asses off? Not doing nothing to find her daughter at all. Why is Summer looking so sick? I don't, I come from a very, 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 I mean, when I say that I walked through hell from birth, like I walked through hell damn near my whole life, I'm not kidding you. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm going to tell you what. It's the truth. I have walked through hell. I know what hell's like on earth. And I'm going to tell you what. I've been in a cesspool. I've been in a big cesspool of nothing but pure shit. And I've been around a whole lot of dillers. Matter of fact, where I come from, who wasn't a fucking diller? That's my question. Who wasn't a diller? They were all mother freaking dillers, right? Everybody seemed to be dillers. And I didn't know one mother freaking diller that would take a kid for, that would take a kid and hold it for payment. I don't know, not even a damn one. Every dealer I knew, if you didn't pay them, mother freaker, they're coming after you. They don't want your kid. They don't want your kid. They want you. And they going to mother freaking get your ass too. You don't pay up, you wish you had. They ain't playing with your ass. They ain't going to be looking for nothing but you. They don't mess with kids. They don't mess with kids. I mean, I know some of them. I know some of them that, might go after your mama. They might go after your girlfriend or your wife. But they ain't going after your baby. Kids are off limits. There's not, that's, if a dealer went after a kid, his dealing career would be over. If word like that got out, he's done. He's done. He is done. You have got to keep a certain amount of mother freaking, respect, even in that shitty world. You got to keep a certain amount of respect. So that dealer stuff is bullshit. It's pure bullshit. Oh, hell no. This had nothing to do with illegal substances. This had all to do with a bunch of pervs hanging around Ben Hill Road and Candace taking videos of all of these weirdos doing some weird stuff. And that's why they're all working together in order to keep this, keep this case from getting solved. It's because they all know that if Summer's found tomorrow, there's going to be mother freaking video clippings coming out of all kinds of freaking weird people who was doing weird stuff. up there on Ben Hill Road. There's a bunch of people going to get exposed. That's my opinion. Just like Don Wells said, a video of his boss. How many more videos are they? And I think those videos, the only damn thing keeping Don and Candace's ass safe right now. That's my opinion. Right there. You know, and why would they go to the horse? Why did they go to the horse pond and leave flowers? And then go to this gravesite and leave flowers? And then put lights around her swing? If some freaking weirdos they don't even know, you know, some dealer guy took the kid. Why would they be doing all of this? Why the hell would they be doing all of this? You know, this right here is guilt. This right here is guilt. You want to see guilt right here? Right here is guilt. They knew what the hell they did, and they went out there trying to make it a little right. They went to the horse pond, flowers, how sorry they are. They regret 4 years down the road, they started to regret their fucking decisions. And they felt a need to somehow do something. And they did it early. They did it early, hoping it wouldn't be caught. But Don Wells had to go and video the lights around the swing, and I bet Candace told him, "You fucking dumbass. You fucking dumbass. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have went to the horse pond and found the flowers. They wouldn't have went up there and searched into the cemetery and found the flowers. It's all you." Yeah. And Fred Hill. Did you notice that he was sitting there describing the very truck, the very damn dark blue truck with the dark tinted windows that you couldn't really see nobody through? That was stocking up the cemetery. The very dark blue truck that I gave a description of being at the cemetery. Put a one in the chat if you took note to that. That he described that damn truck on that interview they did with that particular creator. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He sure to hell did. I took note to that. ASA freaking P. Yeah, he did. You know, what happened to Summer was planned. This stuff was planned. June the 14th, Don starts driving a Subaru that has Starlink. And he fires his co-worker, right, to blame it on. On the 15th, he drives the Subaru for Starlink. On June 2021, the 15th of June 2021, calling it one of his 7 alibis, while the same breath blaming his co-worker as to why his daughter's missing. He set that guy up. He went to work. He fired him. You know, he drove the Subaru the day before, so it, so it wouldn't look like he was just driving it on the 15th for the Starlink. He wanted to act like he started driving at least one day before. But he fires his co-worker that same day that he starts driving it to blame everything on. And then the next day he drives it for the alibi. You know, this was pre-planned shit. You could tell this ain't some This ain't somebody taking a kid for, um, money owed. This is somebody, planning to keep their ass out of jail. To keep their ass out of jail, well, some dirty stuff is going down at the swimming hole. I mean, why get up in the morning and not take all the kids? Take all the kids. I mean, if Candace wasn't going to go into the hospital with her mother, then why not take all the children? Why not get them all up and take them if she's just going to sit in the damn car with them anyway? Why just get up and take Summer? Because she only could take Summer because she didn't want no witnesses to what they were about to do. She took that little girl by herself because they already, and not only that, but let us look back. Let us look back. Summer, on June 15th, 2021, they just take Summer with them. And Hunter's already up waiting. When Candace, he's already up. He's already waiting, you know, to go. Candace, and not only that, but Candace is texting him. Something dirty's going down because he don't want to text. He calls her. They stop texting. He makes the phone call. They wanted to talk about something that, that they didn't want anyone seeing later if their phones were looked into. Right? It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that all phone calls ain't recorded. It's a shame that phone calls ain't recorded the same way text messages are. Because I truly believe a lot of crimes could be solved if phone calls were all recorded on every phone and stored so that law enforcement could go back and listen. I bet they'd hear a lot of stuff, right? I think if they could listen to that phone call between Candace and Hunter that morning, this case would already be solved. That's my opinion. On June 15, 2021, they used Grandis's knee as an excuse to go into Kingsport and pick up Hunter. Hunter lied about being at the Wells house. Right there he is. Right there he is. In back of Summer. Right there's the Black Tote. Black Tote was there on the 12th. Black Tote was gone after the 15th. The Black Tote disappeared with Summer. Right? Black Tote disappeared. And Candace plainly told Chris that Black Tote was put in Grandis's vehicle. She plainly said Summer was leaning against the Black Tote. Oh, Summer was leaning against that Black Tote. Yeah, on the way down to Fred's place. I'm going to tell you something. Ziggy knows nothing about this. She wasn't there. Right here. Ziggy wants to act like she knows everything that happened. She don't know shit. She wasn't there. She wasn't there. Laura was. Laura was the one there. Right here. Right there is the one that was there on June 15, 2021. Laura. Not Ziggy. Laura knows all. Trust me, Laura knows every damn thing. But I'm going to tell you what, she ain't going to talk. You know why? You know why she ain't going to open her mouth and tell a damn thing? Right here's why. Right there's why she's not going to open her mouth and say nothing. And I can say I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Opening her mouth isn't going to bring Summer back. It's just going to end her up where all of these people are. Right? She's just going to end up like them. And she knows it. And she knows it. That's, that's just the way it is. But I'm going to tell you something. If we remember Cotton, Cotton told his mother and he told other family members that he saw Summer in a box. He saw this little girl down at Fred's, he said, down at Fred's, he saw this little girl in a box. Now, they're adamantly saying, we don't know Cotton Simpson. We don't know this guy. We ain't never seen this guy. We know nothing about this guy. Is that true?
Well, I do know that Cotton, the last time I spoke to him, he was talking about being up at 110 the day Summer went missing. And he's talking about sleeping with mother and daughter. He didn't say whether it was Candace and Grandis or Summer and Candace.
Right.
That's what kind.
Did you hear that? Did you notice how easy he said that? Did you take note how easy he said that? PD's little girl, love and prayers, mama, family. Hey girl, I appreciate that. I appreciate that super chat. Yeah, absolutely. God bless. Thank you. Did you see how easy that rolled off of his tongue? I'm gonna let you listen to it again.
At 110 the day Summer went missing. And he's talking about sleeping with mother and daughter. He didn't say whether it was Candace and Grandis or Summer and Candace.
He didn't say whether it was Grandis and Candace or Summer and Candace. It kind of rolled off his tongue like butter, didn't it? That kind of rolled off his tongue like butter, if you ask me. I'm going to tell you something. If this guy came to me and said he's been up at Candace's house, which I don't think he did, I think that's a fucking lie, and Cotton ain't here, to dispute it now, is he? But I'm going to tell you something. If this guy came to me and he said he's up there hanging with mother and daughter, I would just assume it's Grandis and Candace. I wouldn't even think of it being a 5-year-old child. Would you? Would you even fucking consider that? I mean, that wouldn't even enter my mind. What kind of fucking mind do you have to have for that kind of shit to be internet? I thank God that I have a mind that I got. I thank God that I have a pure mind, a good mind, a mind that wouldn't even fucking go there. I really do. But you know what? When I see people's minds like this go there, it makes me fucking sick. Because I feel if your mind can go there, if your mind's so fucking filthy that it could go there, there's something wrong with you. I need to open my mind up and see you for what you are. I shouldn't let this fly over my head. I should actually grab hold of it and understand that you're probably not the type of person that I want around me or my fucking children, especially around my kids. Because a normal-minded person's mind ain't going to think about a 5-year-old little girl being part of a mommy and daughter, twosome, threesome, whatever. Right? It's just not going to register. So what kind of mind do you got to have to think of that? And to so nonchalantly say it. right? Ivy's mom, I hate to say this, and I really do. I hate to say this, but in my opinion, his mind's fucking going there because he's part of it. That's my opinion. Is he's part of it. And that is why he is fighting so hard to take the focus off, you know, the real topic here, the real victim. I think Fred Hill, I think if they were to solve Summer's case tomorrow, Fred Hill's ass would be going to prison. I think Hunter would be going to prison. I think Candace Wells would be going to prison, and Dom Wells, and Grandis, and Jody Sue and Andy, and maybe even Jody Sue's son for interfering in an investigation like this. I think they all would be going to prison, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think even Allison would have been going to prison if you ask me. I think she'd be going to prison too if she wasn't already gone, right? That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. In all honesty, I think Don Wells' boss would be going to prison. According to Don Wells, and the videotape he supposedly sold for $5,000, right? That's my opinion too. Right.
That's what kind of confused me, you know. He didn't specifically say exactly which one.
Do you remember that right after Summer's disappearance that Don and Candace and all of them, they was acting really... Grandis ran the hell out of there. Andy Bernard ran the hell out of there.
Well, see, the law enforcement made Grandis leave because she's not allowed around children, period.
Well,
I do know that.
There was no children. They took the boys and Summer was missing. There was no children. So...
Well, she didn't come. See, she left and didn't come back after the boys was took.
Right. She took off. Actually, Grandis took the hell out of there after the boys were taken. And Andy Bernard, I don't know which one of them got out of there the fastest because Grandis went first. Andy went right after Grandis. Jody Sue went right after Andy. And the funny thing is, and if all these people didn't fucking do something wrong, why the hell would they be fleeing? Why would you flee like hell if you done nothing wrong? You know, why are you going to run if you didn't do anything wrong? Right there after Cotton Simpson came up unalived, Cotton Simpson had quite a bit of money on him. Did you notice did he sound kind of choked up? Listen to him. Did you notice he sound kind of choked up when I mentioned Cotton Simpson? Right after Andy. And the funny thing is right there after Cotton Simpson came up unalived, you hear him? Mm-hmm. Did you hear how he, you know, it kind of got him? It kind of stunned him. You could tell in his voice. It's like, you know, it really hit him, like, you know, when someone, it's like, you know, when your piece of cake's gone out of the refrigerator and there's only one other person in the house that could have ate it, and you go to the kitchen table while they're, having their breakfast and their coffee, and you say, my piece of cake ain't in the refrigerator. And they get that, kind of choked up. Oh, really? Like they know they fucking ate it, but, they don't want to, they ain't ready to admit it, right? He kind of got that. He's kind of got that. Cotton Simpson had quite a bit of money on him. He had just barely done. Was he at your house the day?
Yeah.
He was there
the day before.
The day before he ended up dead? Oh, hell yeah, they are. Absolutely, PG's little girl. I know firsthand that they're all communicating together. Oh, I know firsthand that oh, hell yeah, they're still absolutely. And law enforcement knows it too. Law enforcement knows it. Or the very day.
The day before.
He was at your home.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
The evening before.
He wasn't.
Not the day that they found him. No, I didn't know nothing about they even finding him. And Marvin Simpson had told me that they had found him. That he told me that Betty Jo Simpson had called him and told him that they had found cotton and stuff, and that he had a big gash in his back of his head and stuff. That's why they give me a polygraph, because they hadn't. A polygraph that you failed miserably? A polygraph that, is so fucking inconclusive, law enforcement still freaking staring at you? And they didn't tell nobody. They didn't tell anyone about that. And you knew. And it's still, and from you said that this guy told you, well, that guy ain't telling law enforcement. He told you. If he did tell you, he's not telling law enforcement that. Right, Fred? Absolutely. At least that he had a gash in the back of his head. And the only reason I knew is because she had told Marvin, and Marvin had told me. No, she didn't. That's bullshit. I personally have talked to this particular person, this lady, and she said, you're a fucking liar, Fred. She said, you're a damn liar. That's exactly what she said. Right. And that's the only reason I knew, Right. Hold on, I'm trying to find out exactly when Cotton passed away. Best I remember. Watch, he knows the exact date. Right, Fred? You know the exact date. Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day. It was, I want to say February the 14th or something. Of 2023, maybe. Exactly. And you know what? Even I double checked the date, right? Even I was double checking the date. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things you learn real fast, and law enforcement also, they're schooled on this as well. When a suspect is able to start ripping off dates that shit happened, you need to take a closer look at them, because only people, that means it means something to them. When they remember the dates, then that means it means something to them. I mean, pretty much means they're guilty as fuck, to be honest. That's what it means. They're guilty as hell. That date means something to them because they're guilty as hell. They didn't forget that date because they done the evil deed. See, a person that didn't do anything, they're not going to fucking remember that date. They're not going to remember shit because they're too busy living their life. That date don't mean shit to them.
And they're not going to know what date. When you ask them about dates, they're going to be like, I don't even fucking know. I don't know what I ate yesterday. Right? How are you going to ask me, about something back then? I don't know. This is what you're going to get when people are innocent.
Not for sure. Seemed like that's what date I remember somebody saying. I'm not for sure.
February the 14th, 2023. Exactly.
But see, Cotton used to work at Warriors Path up there as a maintenance before, a few years before Summer went missing and stuff.
And he came out on disability.
Yeah.
And he was getting quite a bit of money. He had been in jail for 6 months, and that money had piled up in his bank account, which would have come to around $18,000. It's what he would have had. You know what? When he said, that told me he didn't get it all. That told me he did not get no 18 grand. That's what it told me. It told me that he got a lot less out in his bank. And when he was at your house, and then the following morning he was found dead.
The next day, sometime the next day, I don't know what time.
He was found dead.
They said some hikers had found him or something.
Right, the next morning. And Don and Candace, he said he was up there. Now, could he have left your house and stopped by the Wells house?
No, because me and Marvin actually had followed him and stuff to the top of the mountain, and we turned around that top of the mountain at the Mountain View at the stop sign, because when he was at my house, he was wanting to buy a boat and stuff, and I was in partners with somebody else on the boat, and I told him I couldn't really price it right then. I had to get with them and stuff to take and find out what they wanted for their part, Right. And then he got to talking about he was worried about having money and stuff on him. And I don't know why he was talking about worried about getting robbed or whatever. But
right there, he admits that he followed the man. He knew the man had money. And if you remember on Ziggy's, he's like, Cotton didn't have no money. He didn't have nothing. Right there, he admits he knew the man had money. He admits that they followed him. This man was found dead the next morning after Fred and this other people followed him, knowing he had that money too. And they had an argument. They had an argument about Summer. Him and Cotton had an argument about Summer. And Laura said, what was she talking about? And, because she heard Summer being brought up. And Fred said, don't worry about it. I'm protecting you. He follows Cotton. And Cotton becomes unalived, just like Cotton's mother had become unalived just 1 month before Cotton Simpson did. The one that he had told about, seeing Summer in the box. Ain't it funny how Mommy come up unalive 1 month before her son gets out of jail, and then he comes up unalived as well after him and Fred has a conversation about Summer. And Fred knows, I think the money was just an extra bonus in everything. That's my opinion.
Me and Marvin actually followed him we was trying to make sure he made it home or whatever, but once he got to the top of the mountain, instead of turning left to go to his house, he turns right and goes towards Betty Joe's. Because Betty Joe lives on that same, right past where the cemetery and stuff, where they found his vehicle.
And he acted like he didn't know where the cemetery was. And then all of a sudden he knows exactly where the cemetery is, right? Then he knows exactly where it's at. Yeah. This is a whole lot of bullshit. And he found the polygraph when it comes to did you unalive Cotton Simpson, right? Do you know who did unalive Cotton Simpson? Was you there when Cotton Simpson was unalived, right? All the questions they asked, he failed fucking miserably. Um, there you go, right? And I'm gonna tell you, him and Ziggy really got pissed off when I brought this to the table, right? When I brought it to the table, really pissed them off. I'm gonna tell you what. I got over 40 hours of Fred mother freaking talking. Over 40 hours of Fred running his mouth. But this here was the most damning, information of all. When it came to Summers' case and when it came to Cotton Simpson's case as well. Two birds with one stone, right? There you go. He can't lie out of that. He can't lie out of this because that's his own damn voice. I wonder if he told law enforcement about following Cotton Simpson. I don't think you did you, Fred? Because they were very surprised to hear it. I don't think you did. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But anyway, Fred does nothing but lie. I'm tired. Why does this matter? Because I'm damn tired of all of these suspects bullshit when it comes to Summers' case. But most of all, I'm tired of another creator, which is Ziggy, sitting around and spreading the lies as well. I'm tired of someone that marries a damn suspect in a missing little girl's case and possibly unalived an innocent man for telling what he saw and scared that it was going to that he's going to end up going to law enforcement or over law enforcement's head with what he knew. And his life is gone now. And these people have no right to be taken anything they cannot give back. Fred Hill cannot give Cotton his life back. They cannot give Summer her life back. They had no damn business taking anything they can't give. Only God can give and take. And they're not God. They're not God. And I'm going to tell you, the Bible plainly states, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. That's one of the commandments. Thou shalt not kill. I'm going to tell you what, even the Bible says that a thief is better than a liar. A thief can repay what they take. They can, they take a pie, they can replace that pie. Or they can bring money and pay for the pie. A mother freaking killer cannot replace what they took. They cannot replace life. They cannot give that. They cannot return it. They cannot do anything. And a liar, well, a liar, you know, in my opinion, a liar will get you killed. I don't like liars. I don't want liars around me. I can't stand a liar. Liars are very dangerous. And if they'll lie to you, they'll lie to everybody. I have no time for them. Don't want nothing to do with them. I'm going to tell you, if you feel like you got to lie to kick it, there's something mentally wrong with you. I have always found that people are way more interesting when they're telling me the truth about their life than making up a bunch of bullshit. And that is the truth. And when you tell people the truth about your life, then they're liking the real you, not some made up bullshit about you. It's just the way it is. It's very important to tell the truth. But none of these people, none of these suspects, evil people don't ever tell the truth. Evil people are so used to lying, they need to keep lying. And I want to tell you, I think this world, I think the people, you know, it says at the end of time, Revelations says at the end of time that there'll be very few make it into the gates of heaven. Very few will be on the righteous path. That means the majority of people are going to be, you know, on the wide road to hell. And I believe that. I believe that because, you know, people today, they're so used to hearing lies, and people love lies. And you know, everybody wants to give that feel good thing. They go one or two directions. They either want to say, oh, girlfriend, you look so good today. Oh, I love your hair. I love your nails. And they're lying. They're lying. I won't tell somebody I like their hair or their nails unless I do. If I don't, I won't say nothing. I won't say anything unless you ask me, how do you like my hair? If I don't like it, I'll tell you. I'll say, I don't like it. It don't suit you. I think you prettier this way or that way. You should fix it a different way. I don't, you know, I'm not going to lie. I don't want to lie to people. I want you to look your best. That's why I'm truthful with you. You know, people might think I'm mean. I'm not mean. I'm honest. I want everybody to look their best. You might get mad at me at first, but you know what? You're going to change your hair up because you knew I told you the truth. What most people won't do. That's because I care. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand that because they're not used to hearing the truth anymore. The truth doesn't sometimes, you know, suit what they want to hear. People love hearing those lies. They like, you know, being spoon-fed bullshit. You know, and I understand that. I understand that to the fullest. But, you know, I'm not going to do it. I wish people wouldn't do it to me. And also, you have the other side. The ones that are, you know, spreading lies because they're jealous of other people. Oh, that person's this, and this. When they ain't none of that stuff going on with that person, you know. That person lies, and they don't take care of their house, and they don't do this, and they don't do that, and you know, spread bad rumors about somebody just because you want everybody to hate them because your fucking ass don't like them. You have those liars too. That's why I always get both sides of a story. Somebody tells me a bunch of bad stuff about someone. I don't go, you know, I don't immediately just start disliking this person because of what I heard. If I see that person, I give that person an opportunity. I like them just as much as I like the other person saying the stuff about them, until I find out if it's true or not. Most of the time, it's not. I say 99% of the time, none of it was true. Matter of fact, I find that usually the other person is a lot better person than the one talking about them. That's my opinion, but that's from experience. And so you got that form of lying going on in this world as well. So between the two, it's like all these people are lying. And that's why they're all on the wide road to hell. If you want to stay on the righteous road, you want to make it into the kingdom of heaven one day, live there forever, you've got to be honest. You got to tell the truth. If you don't like somebody's hair, tell them I don't like it. I think you'd be more beautiful, with your hair down or your hair, fixed in a different style than the way you got it. I think you look prettier in lighter makeup or darker makeup. Help them out. Help them out. And let them know you love them. You care about them. But you just want the best for them. And you're not willing to, blow smoke up their ass and say what they want to hear just because that's what people do. It's wrong. It's not righteous. You are beautiful. You are beautiful, PJ's little girl. You are beautiful. You're beautiful on the inside and it shines through. Trust and believe that. You're beautiful in my eyes. In my eyes, you're a very beautiful person. Inside and out. And I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't lie. If you wasn't, I'd say it. That's true. But anyway, I said I'd stay away from politics. I didn't say I'd stay away from religion. Right? I said I'd stay away from politics tonight. I ain't said nothing about politics. But I'm going to head out of here because I've already kept everybody so long already. And I like to show my funny memes, but I have to do that on Facebook now. I have to show all of that on Facebook because, these people in this world, in the YouTube world, want to cry. They want to cry too much when you pop stuff up here, and and just cause a whole lot of what nobody needs. So if you want to see my funny memes, you got to go over, take a field trip, go over to Facebook. You'll find them there. They're still in existence. They're still in existence, just in a different area. And it all, this YouTube channel and that Facebook is all a package deal, you guys. It's a package deal. One goes with the other. And that's how we work it. That's how we work it. So you'll find all the funny stuff over there, along with a whole lot of other things, along with a whole lot of other stuff, the updates on missing kids, how, a lot of our thoughts and everything on the case and so forth and so on, on all different missing kids cases, mostly Summer, but a lot of other kids too. And, that's what we do. And you'll find a lot of meet and greet, all the people telling you good morning, God bless you, and, posting a lot of good stuff for everybody to, to make their days better. So, the Facebook is a beautiful place to be as well, Summer's Facebook. And if you haven't put in a friend request, please do. Please do. Everyone's welcome there. And, if you're a good person, you're welcome there. The haters ain't, I can't take everybody because we got some haters that, you just don't want there. Debbie Downers. And, that doesn't work out too good. But as we go out of here tonight, I'd like for you to ask you all, for one, please send the prayers up for Summer Moon Utah Wells. This baby can always use every single prayer you can put out for her. She can use it. And I know God answers prayers. I know he does. And the truth, if you want the truth, pray for it. God will send it. So let's keep praying for Summer and the truth to come out on this case. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Pray for Michael Vaughn, Sebastian Rogers, Jack and Lily, little Emmanuel. Let's pray for all of these missing kids. And I wanted to ask everybody, as we go out of here tonight, please send up the purple hearts, the blue hearts, all the different color hearts for all of these missing kids. I don't know if they can see down here how much you care and how much you love them, but if they can, let's show them. Let's show them how much you care. Good night, everybody. God bless. Much love.